Plus. Time for that pep talk.
All right, and welcome back to the show, the Be Positive Music Show, right here on SiriusXM, channel 154 and Holy Culture Radio. It's your host here, B Plus, and you heard right, it is time for today's halftime pep talk. But before we get into that, I do want to let you guys know where we stand as it relates to our top 25 rap/sung songs of 2022. Number 15, that was Bounce Back. That was by Wes Harris and Sarah Natalie. Song number 14, that was by, as DJ Mike LV calls them, the 10-time tag team champs, the Social Club Misfits. The name of the song was Born for This, and it was featuring Evie McKinney. Song number 13, that was All Mine. That was by Trip Lee, featuring Taylor Hill. And song number 12, one of my wife's favorite, was Eyes on Him. That was by Jay Violet, featuring Bats. And then song number 11 was by The Truth. Now he goes by Emmanuel. He just dropped Emmanuel last night. The name of the song was Nights in Atlanta, and it was featuring Greg Cox. Now let's go ahead and switch gears and let's hop into today's pep talk. Now this pep talk was actually kind of thought about while I was 30,000 feet in the air. I was recently on a flight and I had the pleasure of sitting next to a very talkative gentleman, but he was an ex-pilot. He flew for US Airways, which is now American Airlines, for about 30 or 40 years, but he hasn't flown in about 20 years. So this man is up there in age, but he was very talkative, very fun guy to sit next to on the plane. But as we were landing, something interesting happened. He looked over at me and said, we're making our descent. And I was just like, oh, okay, cool. He said, I'm about to walk it down. And I was just kind of like, okay. So what he did was he looked out the window and he kind of set his head back on the headrest. And he said, and he kind of closed his eyes. I couldn't tell, it was kind of dark. And he said, we're at 1,000 feet, 750 feet, 500 feet, 200, 100, 50, 10, 5. And sure enough, right after he said 5, we hit the ground. Not hit the ground, we landed. And I was just like, this is amazing. Like, this guy hasn't flown in all these years, but he still has it. I looked over at him and I smiled and I said, you still have it. And I gave him a fist bump and he kind of laughed and gave me a fist bump back. And that kind of got me thinking. We don't become mature in our faith by just overcoming one temptation. We don't become mature in our faith by reading a few scriptures and thinking that it's just going to sink in overnight. Just like this pilot, he hasn't flown in 20 years, but at the same time, for 40 years, this man was flying countless times, countless trips all over the world. And I feel like that's really what it's like with our faith. My mother actually sent me a scripture here recently. It was Romans chapter 5. Verse 3 through around about 6 or so. And it's just a very popular scripture just talking about how when we go through our problems and trials, that builds endurance. And that endurance leads to character. And that character leads to hope. And then ultimately that hope just really sustains us as we go through this walk with the Lord. So it just really got me thinking that like those first things that we're supposed to be doing, like praying, staying in our scripture, being in good community. Even if we don't have good community around us, we're listening to good preaching, good podcasts, things like that, just to kind of build up our faith. Like those little things build up, and then we start to grow and mature and find some endurance in it. And I do want to say, in no way am I saying that we're going to reach this superhuman status. We're going to be outside of our flesh while we're still here on the earth, and we're never going to worry again. We're never going to fall again. But what I am saying is, like it says in Romans chapter 5, verse 5, that we that our hope in God won't lead to disappointment. We'll be firm in our faith. So just want to encourage you guys with that. I hope that really lands for you guys, no pun intended. But it's time to get back into some more music. It's time to get into some collabs. Our next 3 songs will be all collaborations. This first song I want to play, let's see, I think we're going to go with Big by Miles Minnick and Lecrae. If you guys haven't checked it out yet, there is a very fun music video for this song. Once again, this next song that I'm going to play, it is by Miles Minnick featuring Lecrae. The name of the song is Big. This is the Be Positive Music Show right here on Holy Culture Radio, SiriusXM, channel 154. You guys keep it locked. Don't you guys go anywhere.
Why they sleeping on me like a Sandman? Devil pull up on me, he a dead man. I remember I was recording on that webcam. Now I'm balling on TV like it's Space Jam. And my city living lawless like it's no police. Hearts frozen, going stupid like it's no degrees.
I was in the water, had to take me a dive. They think I ain't Christian, why they actin' surprised? Let's go.
He gon' cook it up like it was gumbo. Ballin' with these blessings like Matumbo. He gon' cook it up, I call it gumbo. I put Jesus first, don't be a Dumbo. Every day we celebrating, living like a surprise. Crusty hit my celly, but I don't have the time.
We hype me up when I'm walking, so I get to running like somebody coming. I've been slaying Goliath since I was a youngin'. Biting these tracks like a father. Running, they blind to the fact where they still me coming. I'm coming.
I put it out on Goliath. Let him up, thought it was 4th of July. Bigger the giant, the harder they cry. I don't feel sorry for him, he gon' cry in the car. They hide from the truth, I don't know where they are. All black like a thief, that's a burglar bar. I pray to the hero, don't need a guitar. They swinging like Tiger, I'm so up the swing. Don't give me no script when I'm playing my
It's the fourth quarter.
Alright, and we are back. This is the Be Positive Music Show. It's B+. And let me give you guys a quick rundown of the collaborations that you heard during Q3 of today's show. Now, the first song you heard was Big. That was by Miles Minnick, featuring Lecrae. The next song you heard was Gumbo. That was by Big Breeze and Portia Love. And then the last song you heard was Talkin' My Flow. That was by Childlike CC and 1K Few. Now it is time for the Christian R&B, that Christian pop style of music. So before we do that, I do want to stop and give a special shout out to my big bro. His name is Bernard. The reason why I want to do this is because that's actually the reason why I was flying. I was flying because I was going to surprise him for his 45th birthday. So shout out to you, V. I love you. He's literally the reason why I love Christian hip hop. He introduced me to it like in 95 maybe. And he's just a great guy. He's super gifted. He's a single father. Man, he in the early 2000s as a teenager, he just brought me around the Christian hip hop scene here in Cincinnati. Like, my brother has either produced or rapped with a lot of the legends within Christian hip hop that are from Cincinnati. So he's been in collaborations with D-Mob, K-Drama, Theory Has It, Lisan, and then like the list just goes on and on, whether he was creating album art, music videos. He was just very entrenched in the Christian hip hop scene here in Cincinnati. And then even outside of that, like even after I grew up, I was an adult, married, we were co-DJs at a skating rink here in Cincinnati called the Fun Factory. We were the host DJs, or the house DJs I should say, at the Fun Factory here in Cincinnati, or there I should say in Cincinnati. Each and every Thursday night we co-DJ'd. We had the whole setup going, had a whole lot of fun. So V, I wanted to send this shout out to you. I love you. Thank you for being a dope big brother. Thank you for introducing me to Christian hip hop. And yeah, so to many more years. And really, we're gonna probably have to do a little bit more. We're gonna have to figure out some ways to collaborate in this upcoming year. Whether we do it over video, whether we meet up, but we're gonna have to do some things and talk about CHH, because we do it a whole lot offline, and we need to take some of those conversations public. So V, let's go ahead and do that. And with that being said, let's go ahead and hop into this Christian R&B set. This next song is called Go Back. It's by one of my favorite artists right now. She goes by the name of Madison Ryan Ward. This is the Be Positive Music Show. You guys keep it locked right here for some of the freshest in Christian hip hop and rhythm and praise music. You guys keep it locked.
At the lowest parts of me, found a love to help me see that nothing's ever wasted and no one's too far gone from